Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you for joining me here. Hope you're having a great day. Let's take another look at Solana, see what's going on. 120 bucks. This is awesome. We're up from that 110 margin that we were looking at yesterday. So we did get that bounce off this support slash demand zone in the basically 105 to 112 range. And this little play out here, by the way, a little sarcasm, but also some truth to it. If we saw a Trump tweet or see one this weekend, we'll probably see the price action go down, right? That's kind of the concept. And if there is no tweet, of course, then the price goes up. That's essentially where we're at in the market right now. So just be mindful that that's really just a very normal, very regular thing right now. It's a meme in itself, but it's very relevant. Either way, Bitcoin is pushing towards its upper resistance range, has a lot of liquidation above that. I think there's a distinct probability we see that happen. Now, I want to be kind of a little more timid and not try to convince you to take a long going in the weekend, because we have historically this year we've had 13 out of 14 red weekends where Friday closes, at a certain level, and by the time Sunday opens, the margin is tremendously lower. So we're creating significant CME gaps on weekends too. So just be mindful those things are relevant and consistent. So it's probably best to presume that'll happen, especially with today being a nice green Friday. It just seems like the perfect storm. Okay. Quick little congrats though to our community members. While we didn't take a long on Solana like I should have, we did take a long with Bitcoin, 32% and 30% from Avalanche. So mostly similar trade setups. A majority of altcoins are looking pretty strong because Bitcoin is too. So please understand that. However, AVAX, Solana, and a couple of others are some outliers that are performing a lot better than others. We take a look at liquidation. This does incentivize the price to push towards that 125 to 130 range. Just note that 125 to 130 or 122 to 128 more specifically is that solid resistance range that we're going to need to treat with some respect. And what I mean by that is just that it worked very strong as a support level previously, and we got to presume it'll work as a resistance now moving forward. Doesn't mean you short that area per se, because this is a nice little bullish uptrend. But if we don't surpass 125 to 130 this weekend, I think it's a decent opportunity to consider a short. I'm leaning more towards taking some shorts tomorrow as a hypothetical, depending on the market. I'm not just going to jump in the blind, though, by the way. I'm not just going to take a 50x leverage trade at 125 while I'm sleeping and set a limit order for that. That's just ridiculous. You never set limit orders for that unless you're watching it closely. But more important, you want to reevaluate when that happens. So yeah, a lot can change in 24 hours. Let's just put it that way. For right now, liquidation delta is still green. Well, it's the same thing with Bitcoin too. We're looking good. In other words, green implies we have more buying pressure than selling pressure. You don't generally want to short into that. That starts to taper off, starts to shift momentum, perhaps. Between now and then, it's just generally best to avoid. And what I'm referring to short positions. You're statistically more favorable to find profit going up than down right now. That's just kind of the overall trend. Keep in mind the macro trend still hasn't broken bullish. We'll look at that in a second. But we have a lot of open interest below us at 112, 117. A little bit of resistance at 124 from the previous high. Majority of those positions have been closed. So taking a look at the daily time frame, let's go ahead and we'll check this here just so you can kind of vibe with me and understand more so that the trend hasn't reversed itself. Yes, we've had a couple of good days this week. It's nice, don't get me wrong, but we're not out of the woods yet. And what I mean by that is 127 is that point of control. So ever since we entered the 120s, we've seen the most amount of volume in that range. Oftentimes, exit liquidity occurs when you come to that level. That's why it works as a resistance, because people are selling their positions, trying to get out of break even. They're not people like you and I, by the way. For the most part, they're not. But anyways, retail or not, we are still under both moving averages. We're still under that point of control. It's generally considered to be risky to try to take longs into that. That's called breakout trading, and breakout traders are statistically the least successful traders in the industry. They're the ones that are posting on social media how great they are, by the way. Those are the breakout traders. Anyways, it works in bullish trends, but we're not in a bullish trend, so why break out, right? Maybe a breakdown trader may have more luck, right? When you consider selling on the opposite, at the inverse, effectively, whatever. Just a thought. Either way, daily time frame, there's nothing bullish here. Minus MACD kind of converging, telling us we're shifting momentum. It's true. I completely side with that. We are shifting momentum, but it's just not enough to warrant a long position to the metaphorical moon. That's all. Okay. So if you're going to take profit, do it. That's what you got to do. That's how you are actually profitable. I know it sounds crazy, but if you never sell, you're never going to take any profit. And the truth is, if you're buying the dip here, that's all good. I love it. I bought a lot myself in the upper 90s and low 100 range, but I didn't just take high leverage trades, and I'm not holding those until forever, right? That's a super high risk. It's not really worth it. You're going to get eaten up on fees. Just leave it alone if you're considering that kind of trade. The moral of the story is take profit when you can, folks. This market, it gives and takes so consistently that if you don't take for yourself, you're just going to be giving a lot of money away. It makes no sense. By the way, a 4-hour time frame is phenomenal. There's nothing here that's remotely bearish. We do have some confluence here at 126 with that 200-day SMA that's proven to be somewhat of a resistance for us. So my speculation is we're going to take a little bit of time to cross this threshold of 120 to 130. Once we close above 130, we're soundly above that, maybe with a bullish back test after a couple of days. I'm going to be very happy to consider a long position that may be held for a longer period of time. Between now and then, we're just in a really ridiculous market, and you want to secure profits whenever possible. Ichimoku Cloud is confirming that we're on the right side of tracks here. So we have pretty much a green light on most fronts, letting us know that a long makes more sense than a short. Just keep in mind you're longing the hypothetical top into a statistically unfavorable weekend condition. So if you're going to take a long today, sure, why not? Just make sure you secure profits in the 120 to 130 range and ensure that you're not just being a ridiculous fool and holding a long open all weekend. That has worked out very unfairly for a majority of people doing that, including myself. I got bit once or twice this year, and it sucks. So it's all right though, folks. It's how it happens. You got to learn from it and continue to move on. So last statistic for the day, 13 out of 14 red weekends so far this year. Just let that resonate. Let that sink in. Okay. Hope you have a good one though, folks. Either way, be safe out there. Join us on Twitter, Telegram, and Discord, and we'll look forward to working with you. I do have a Trading Academy community and Signals group too, if you're interested in that. It's been actually a pretty awesome experience. We got a really cool community. So check it out. We'll look forward to seeing the next one, folks. Thanks again for your time. Take care.